Hi all! Everything in my video is pulled from the public domain, and I am using them under the Fair Use, Fair Dealings guidelines. Everything I say is my own opinion. You should look into this information for yourselves, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. Good morning, everybody. All right, just like our video yesterday, it's going to be shorter than usual, but bear with me because there's still a lot of really good information, okay? So let's just jump in with both feet and get there. Let's go. We're going to start off with Queen Consort Camilla, who a few days ago at Clarence House, she, was the Colonel-in-Chief of the Rifles Regiment, and she welcomed General Sir Patrick Sanders, who is the regiment's outgoing colonel, and Lieutenant General Tom Coppinger-Symes, the new Colonel Commander incoming. Very nice. Next up, we're going to move over to King Charles. We know that he and Camilla were supposed to go to France on Sunday. There was supposed to be a huge lavish ceremony at the Palace of Versailles and on Monday, and it's now been moved after threats of violence from French protesters. There has been widespread rioting across France due to the increase in the retirement age. There has been fights and running battles in the streets of Paris this week because President Macron decided to raise the retirement age from 62 to 64 without a government vote. That did not do well. They're saying that he's out of touch with the people. Maybe he is. Now, this trip to France and then Germany is supposed to celebrate Britain's relationship with these two countries in marking, the shared histories and cultures and values. But with all the riots, it just could be very dangerous. So as of right now, the trip is not being canceled. Buckingham Palace is keeping an eye on it, and there will be a banquet. It just won't be at Versailles. All right, moving on. Next up, Charles went to Canary Wharf, and he officially opened what is, they're saying, one of the most environmentally advanced buildings in the UK. And he also met staff from Ukraine and Turkey. Now, this building that he was in, it's EBRD. And it's a 26-story skyscraper. And again, it's one of the most environmentally advanced buildings in the UK. And it's fully powered by renewable energy. And over 100 of their staff are the people that were evacuated from Ukraine at the beginning of 2022, with financial aid and housing given to relocated staff. Now, he was cracking jokes with people saying, you all work in these buildings? Are you all bankers? And then he said, are you on your lunch break? You mean they let you out occasionally? He was very funny. First, Charles was presented with a landscape painting by 16-year-old Sofia Frankchuk from Ukraine. After that, he was presented with a Turkish vase with a mosaic on it from, and I hope I'm saying this right, Antakya, which was a city that was heavily damaged during the recent earthquakes. This would have been a big booster for him because apparently when he arrived, people were standing outside and they were screaming, "We love you, Charles," and, really letting him know that they were happy to see him. So I'm sure that was a big boon for him. So before he even went into the building, he made a point of going over and speaking to some of the people that were outside. So, yeah, the majority of the UK people are behind him. Interesting. Next up, we're moving on to Prince William. He's still in Poland. So at one point, he was outside of a food market, and somebody handed him a pink felt hat she had made specially for Catherine, which I think is a very nice thing to do. And while he was there, he went out to eat at an LGBT restaurant. Now, from what I'm reading online and on Twitter, this is a massive thing because they're very strict in Poland with the LGBTQ rights. And so him going to this restaurant was a big statement, very similar to when the Queen drove King Abdullah around in her Range Rover, showing him that women could drive. You get it? Go William. Now, according to the restaurant, he ordered a £7.50 pulled pork sandwich and fries. The pictures from the restaurant came from another diner who turned around and saw him there and started surreptitiously taking photos, which I think is really funny, actually. Now, I'm sure I'm going to butcher these names, but I'm going to give it a try anyway. The Butero Bistro advertises itself as, quote, your queer space with comfort food, while its logo is made up of the colors of the rainbow. And it opened in November last year. Very nice. And the restaurant was so proud William was there, they actually slapped a sign on the back of the chair so that everybody knew that's where William parked his tush while he ate his sandwich in their restaurant. Seriously. Now, it's been reported that his visit has been very shrouded in secrecy. He has been traveling under massive security to the country. But because it was not announced ahead of time, this is why nobody else was able to step up and, try to steal his thunder during this trip. It's interesting how that works. Anyway, people on the street were happy to see him. People wanted to take selfies with him. Very nice. It seems to be a really successful trip. Now, beyond meeting with the military and beyond meeting with the average person on the street, of course, he did other things. He met with President, I think you pronounce it Duda, and they had an interesting chat. Now, one of the other things he did was he placed down a wreath at the tomb of the unknown soldier in Warsaw on Thursday morning. Queen Elizabeth and the Duke of Edinburgh, the late Duke of Edinburgh, did the same thing in 1996 when they were there. William was apparently met by a full honor guard and who carried the assortment of flowers to the monument, and he spent about 10 minutes there before he left. And on the wreath was a note that said, quote, in memory of those who made the ultimate sacrifice. And a lot of passerbyers were waving at William. They were standing there with signs, and he went over and he greeted these people. It's very nice. All right, next up, there's lots of articles that are out saying that Harry and Meghan do not have a deadline to accept the coronation invite. I have to be honest, I disagree with that for several reasons. Number one, they have to plan seating arrangements in the Abbey and with all the other events going on. So they need to know if he's going to attend or not. That's the first problem. The second problem is that Harry is supposed to give a month's notice before any trip back to the UK due to security reasons. And since the King's coronation is taking place on May 6th, he has a speculated deadline of April 8th. So if he doesn't give a response by that time, he may find that his security request can't be processed in advance, and that could create a problem. So with that, yes, I have to say that I do believe there is some sort of a deadline for security. There's a deadline for seating arrangements. There's a deadline for planning. So yeah, at some point they have to say yes or no. They can't just wing it and show up. Now, another story that came out said that the Sussexes won't be spoken to because everything is for sale. Well, you can't really blame them. I mean, after all, when they reached out to them after the Oprah show, what happened? It ended up on the morning news with Gayle King. That was the breaking point. That's when the royal family knew they were untrustworthy. Yeah. Anyway, also for the coronation, it's come out that they're saying Harry and Meghan won't be allowed to stand out. In other words, there's a lot of special robes and special things that are worn during the coronation by Charles. They'll be worn by William. They'll be worn maybe even by George. But Harry and Meghan are not going to be allowed to wear any of that special stuff, which, again, for people that are complaining, they are the ones who walked away from the family and said they didn't want any part of it. Well, here you go. All right, just a quick update. Meghan Markle's attorneys have now stepped up and said that Meghan is willing to be deposed. And her lawyers appear hopeful that they will depose her, even though there's still the looming threat of an application by Meghan to have the whole case thrown out. She's attempted already to have it thrown out. It was knocked down. We'll see what happens. Moving on. All right, another quick update. We know that a U.S. lawyer is demanding the release of Prince Harry's visa application over concerns that he was given preferential treatment, which he probably was. They want to know if Harry declared the drug use on his visa application. The Heritage Foundation is concerned about the migration policy and the laws on the books being properly enforced. And that's what led to all of this, plus the fact that Harry basically has been running his mouth to everybody, letting them know that he uses all kinds of drugs, from marijuana to cocaine to magic mushrooms. Probably not the smartest thing he's ever done. I'll keep an eye on this story as well. Now, you guys should know that people are upset with Meghan Markle, saying that she should have stopped him from putting his drug usage in the book, that she should have known that something could happen and that she's completely responsible for not stopping him. My thought process is he's a grown-ass man. He's going to do what he wants to do. She could have advised him, but in this case, I have to agree she's not responsible. Now, I want to end this with a comment made by one of my subscribers, Barbara Oliver. Now, this is rather long, so I'm going to give you the Cliff Notes version. She's pointing out that there are several UK channels that are reporting that there are no ongoing discussions with Harry and Meghan's demands, and that an email notification of the coronation date was sent, and there has been nothing since then. Formal invitations are due to go around the end of this month, 6 weeks before the event, with an RSVP deadline. So it appears that all of this noise is coming from Montecito, and examples are, we might be invited to the Oscars, we're tipped to go to the Met Gala, etc., because any coverage is good coverage, get it? So it's like, look at just the amount of coverage in MSN and online. And so if the royal family will issue the formal invitation, but there will be no contact or discussion about the matter. Because let me tell you, there's another YouTuber who's putting out a video recently that everybody's telling me about. And according to her, they're going on the balcony and they're all of this stuff. But if that was the case, we would know about it, I guarantee you. I also want to remind you that William is advising Charles on a lot of the things that he's doing. So if you think William would allow that to happen, no, it's crazy. It's crazy. All right, let's finish this up now. All right, you guys, I just want you to know that this is a shorter video because we've gotten our house. We're moving into it. We're taking it easy, but slow. We've got a month or two. But as you can see, Finn likes it there. He's perfectly happy. He loves the new floors. All right, you guys. So you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button and that bell to be notified of uploads. If you've already hit the button, double check and make sure you're still subscribed. Don't forget to leave those comments below and make them good. Don't forget to go up into the description box and get the links to my Twitter, my Getter, my Rumble, my email, my Patreon, my physical address if there's something you want to mail, my P.O. box. For those of you who've donated to the coffee fund and through my thanks button, thank you so much. And as always, you guys, have a great day.